Hello, my name is Denise Paperman, and I will be presenting the final project, a Biliteracy lesson demonstration required for the course Linguistics and the Teaching of Biliteracy in English to Spanish Dominant Children. The project is divided into three sections. In section 1, I will share the planning segment of the lesson plan. In section 2, I will introduce the key vocabulary and sentence structures that I will model. And in section 3, I will be focusing on the lesson procedure. This lesson is designed for 10th grade students. It aligns with TESOL Standard 4, which focuses on helping English language learners communicate the information, ideas, and concepts necessary for academic success in the field of science. It also aligns with the Puerto Rico Department of Education Biology Standard, ESB 122, which emphasizes representing through models the system of the human body and their principal organs. It also requires students to describe how these systems interact and to explain their specific functions. The focal point of this lesson is the human integumentary system. The content objective is for students to develop the ability to explain the structure and functions of the human integumentary system. Also to learn to evaluate and apply the necessary measures to maintain the proper functioning of the human integumentary system. The language objective is for students to understand the integumentary system, its structure, function, and required care by composing an informational text. The activity title is Exploring the Integumentary System through Writing in English. This table presents the key science vocabulary organized into categories such as structures, functions, diseases or conditions, symptoms and effects, causes, and treatment and prevention. This table presents key vocabulary related to grammatical structures organized into categories such as verb use for factual explanations, passive voice for description, cause and effect connectors, models for giving recommendations, and adjective clauses that provide precise details. This table displays key sentence frame, which is used to describing structure or function in the present tense. This table presents the structure used to explain causes or symptoms, combining passive voice with cause and effect expressions. Before starting the presentation of the procedure, it is important to note that the lesson will take place in 2 different classrooms due to the nature of the activity. Depending on the student's level of technological proficiency, completing the lesson may require more than 2 days. The instruction will begin in the science classroom, then we will be moving to the computer lab, and conclude back in the science classroom. After registering attendance, I will use an activity to warm up and explore previous knowledge. Hello! I will be registering everyone's attendance, so please answer when I call your name. Standing at the front of the classroom, I will project an image of the skin and I will say, today we're going to explore the integumentary system, which is the system that includes your skin, hair, nails, and glands. So let's look at the diagram. I will ask guiding questions using simplified scaffolded language as, what do you notice? What parts can you name? Why do you think the skin is important? And I will be expecting answers like, the skin protects us, covers our entire body, and regulates our body temperature. Dear students, the skin is the largest organ of the body. It's a system that protects the outside of your body. It's the body's outer layer and comprises the skin, hair, nail, and glands. Now I want you to repeat after me. Integumentary system. Once again, repeat after me. Integumentary system. Very good. Nicely done. Dear students, let's look at the diagram. The epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis are primary barriers. The hair helps insulate and protect. The nails gives protection to the fingertips and toes. Glands like the sweat glands help us cool down. The sebaceous glands provide lubrication. Nerves and blood vessels embedded in the skin, they're useful for sensation and temperature control. I will be discussing detailed functions of the skin. Then I will be checking for understanding by using fill-in-the-blank sentences. At this point, I will use sentence frames on structure and functions using present tense. I will display images of common skin conditions, and I will say, this picture shows conditions that affect the integumentary system. A condition is a problem that changes how something works. Here we have acne, eczema, psoriasis, and sunburn. After discussing acne, the students will answer simple questions like, what is one cause of acne? What is one symptom of acne? And what is one treatment for acne? I will be showing my students a list of skin and nail conditions. These are hair and gland conditions. I will write the word symptom. I will say, a symptom is something you feel or see that shows something is wrong. As example, I will show pictures of itching and pain. Then I will be asking the students, who wants to point to the picture that shows itching? Who wants to point at the picture that shows pain? I will give them a feedback like, excellent, naming those students that answer correctly. In this exercise, the students will be able to complete sentences using passive voice and cause and effect. As an example, the condition is caused by bacteria, and as a result, a person may experience redness and sweating. As a second example, I will be reading, the disease is caused by genetic factors, and as a result, a person may experience itchy skin. I will write the word treatment and will explain that a treatment is a method used to manage a health condition. I will show the diagrams like topical cream used for acne, sunblock is used to prevent sunburns, and a moisturizer is used to treat a dry, itchy skin. To check for understanding, I will be asking, who wants to point to the picture that shows treatment for acne? As a feedback, I will say, excellent, and name the student who answered correctly. Another way to check on understanding for the concept of treatment is by completing the following sentences. At this point of the lesson, I will be using the computer classroom. First, I will greet the students and record attendance. The computer teacher will follow to explain the rules used in her classroom. I will show an example of a trifold brochure. I will explain the task clearly. You will now create your own health brochure about one condition that affects the integumentary system. Look at the whiteboard where the rubric for this task is displayed. I will be discussing the rubric and will be answering all questions the students might have about the rubric. After explaining the rubric and answering questions about it, I will continue explaining other instructions. I will say, your brochure must contain the following: student's name, homeroom, an introduction that should include a brief explanation of the structure and function of the skin, and a brief explanation of the condition. About the condition, you should include 3 symptoms, 2 causes, 2 treatments, 5 prevention tips, and 3 images of the skin and condition. The font style is to be used Times New Roman, font size 10. The font color will be based on the template you choose. The text color must stand out against the brochure background color. And you should use high resolution images. I will continue explaining the instructions. I will say, the computer teacher and I will demonstrate how to choose a template, insert the images, adjust the image size, set font style, size and color. We'll also show you how to appropriately acknowledge the creators of intellectual content and images. Only use the website that I have indicated. Always feel free to inquire any questions. Be sure to ask them properly and be sure to comply with the rubric. Once you have finished your brochure, seek for help to print it. Ask the computer teacher or you can ask me. After it is printed, fold the paper into a trifold brochure. This task may take several days to accomplish, so don't forget to save your work. Do not leave the computer classroom without saving your brochure. You can ask the computer teacher to help you save it. The brochure should teach someone to stay healthy. So use simple, clear English so anyone who reads it can understand you. Listen carefully to the following instructions. The skin condition will be assigned to you using the number you have assigned on my roll book. I will be saying out loud the roll book number for each one of you. Look at the table and write down in your notebook the condition with your same roll book number. Now, turn your attention to the whiteboard where the URL of the websites containing the required images and details for your brochure is displayed. Use these websites to gather information for your brochure. English learners of all proficiency levels in my classroom will be able to use the specific digital resources to research skin conditions. These websites are safe and the language used is clear and simple. Now I will tell my students, as you all work, I will be walking around the classroom, supervising and posing questions to you. Like, which is the condition's name? What is one symptom? What treatment will you include? I will use scaffolding techniques for low proficiency students, like the sentence starters. For medium proficiency students, I will use short written explanation. And those for high proficiency, I will use span sentences with connectors like because, therefore, however. At this point of the lesson, We're back into the science classroom where, using a peer review, the students will exchange brochures with a partner, and using guiding questions, they will be checking on their work. Does the brochure explain the structure and function of the skin? Does it describe the condition, its symptoms and causes? Does it include the condition's treatment and prevention? Are the images clear? Is the language clear? The students will give one positive comment and, if it applies, one constructive suggestion. I will be also using a quick formative assessment. I will be using the performance indicator rubric. To each student, I will be asking, tell me one way to keep the integumentary system healthy and name one symptom of the condition you study. This is the TESOL standard and performance indicators rubric that I will be using for the quick formative assessments of my students. I will end the lesson by telling my students, when you understand how the integumentary system works, you can make better choices to keep your body healthy. Your brochures will help educate people in our community. Thank you for attention, and I hope you like my presentation.